Welcome back to the Wedding Buzz. It's your host, Sydney, and today I'm so excited to introduce my guest, Courtney. She's the Catering Sales Manager at the Ben in West Palm Beach, Florida. Courtney, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
I'm so excited that you came here. I had the pleasure of touring the Ben a few weeks ago, and I kind of was like, by the way, you want to come on the podcast? Like, you'd be a great guest. Like, do you want to join? And
I love it.
I'm blessed that she said yes.
I'm honored.
Thank you. No, but the Ben is beautiful.
Thank you.
And it's a very nice place to go to work every day.
Yes, it is. And I live 3 minutes away, so it could not be easier.
I don't even know that part. That's even better.
It's so convenient.
I mean, do you live in a nice area too?
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me a little bit about, we'll start with like you, and then we can talk about the Ben.
Okay.
Obviously we're here.
Yes.
Because you work at the Ben, but like I care about you too.
Okay, thank you.
So tell me about yourself. How did you get into this like hospitality, wedding, hotel world?
Absolutely. So I'm originally from Connecticut. I moved down to Florida to go to Florida State for college. And then in college, I kind of just got, paired up with I met with a recruiter for Marriott Vacation Club. I ended up accepting a job opportunity for a management development program with them straight out of college. So I was doing all operations like housekeeping, front desk, food and beverage, activities, security, and kind of rotated through all departments of a hotel, which was a really cool experience. I stayed with Marriott Vacation Club for about 3 years, so I got promoted to guest relations manager and then was regional operations manager. So I was kind of covering the Florida, Caribbean, Latin America region, and it was kind of like a task force. So I kind of got to fill in for open roles and help them to improve operations at different hotels. And then I kind of decided that I wanted to pivot to more of the sales and events type of career path within the hospitality field, but they didn't really have that within Marriott. It was only because it was Marriott Vacation Club, so it was really only timeshare sales, and I wanted to do event sales. So I went to work at Palm Beach Resort and Spa on South Palm Beach Island,
which is beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful there. So that was my first real. I was catering sales manager there, and that was my first real. Entry into the event side of things, which was really, really awesome. So I learned a lot in that role. And it's such a beautiful resort there, way different than the Ben because it's more beachfront rather than the city. But it's really cool to be able to, sell different types of spaces. And so, so I loved my experience there. And then I started working at the Ben about 9 months ago. So I haven't really been there that long. And I absolutely love it. I think that, I've always loved working in the hospitality world, but I think that, doing the weddings within that has been really, really fun. And I get to, sell and detail weddings, and it's just definitely like what I'm passionate about.
That's awesome. And weddings, weddings are addictive. Like it's a lot of work, but they're so fun, and it's just
and seeing just like all your blood, sweat, and tears come to fruition is like so satisfying. I
know. At every wedding I do, like the ride at home, even it could be like midnight, 1 a.m. Like I call my mom and she's like, how'd it go? 100%. Like every time she's just like, give me like, and
then you're like wired. Like it'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning when you get home, and it's like I can't sleep for at least another hour because I'm like so wired. It's just like the energy of it. It's such a fun thing to be a part of.
You're so tired, but then it's like
It's like,
but
what
I can't
do I do
sleep.
now?
What do I do?
Like I gotta clean my whole house right now at 3 in the morning.
I literally go home and like do stuff or like I'll be up like watching TV or something. My husband's like, come to bed.
Go to bed. I'm like, I literally can't.
I can't. But then
it's not just me.
The next day,
I crash.
She's like, let's go somewhere. I'm like,
no, I'm sleeping till noon.
No, don't talk to me.
Do not wake me up before 11
in
a.m.
me hurts.
Yes, exactly.
That's so funny. So the Ben, it's part of Marriott, right?
Yes.
So you're back to Marriott.
I'm back to Marriott. So I have Marriott in my blood. There you go. I really love being a part of the Marriott brand. And it's an autograph collection. So
I know that, but what does that mean?
So it kind of is a luxury tier of the Marriott portfolio, and they're all independently owned and operated. So there's no two autograph collections that are alike. So there's no like the Ben Hotel anywhere else. So we're all of them kind of have their own story, their own backstory. So we're at the Ben based off of the estate of a woman called Bird Dewey, who was a author and a land investor and kind of a socialite in the late 1800s. And she moved from, I think, Kentucky down to South Florida, and when it was pretty much uninhabited uninhabited. And I think there was only like 200 people living in South Florida at that time. Like it was a lot of like swamp and marshland, and she decided to build an estate locally called the Ben Trovato, which means well invented. And so we're obviously named after that, the Ben, and we're kind of modeled after the, you know, aesthetic of her estate. So this estate was very impressive and kind of helped to put Palm Beach County on the map. And so it hosted people like the Vanderbilts and Woodrow Wilson, and really kind of established everything. So when you walk into the hotel, you'll see, like, you probably noticed in the lobby, you'll see kind of like a living room, and then next to it a library, and the whole hotel kind of encompasses her love for hospitality and hosting. So it's a really cool backstory. And she also wrote a best-selling book called Bruno, which is about a dog. And so you'll see those golden dogs everywhere around property, and people always ask, like, what's with the golden dogs? And there's like a whole story behind them, which is cool. We have a circuit car that brings you, you know, around the hotel, around the city, and it's named Bruno. There's just like little homages to her everywhere. And it's really cool. So I always like to tell, you know, couples when they come on the tour a little bit about the backstory, because it's kind of interesting.
It is interesting. It's not just your like typical rinse and repeat, like hotel. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's a different vibe when you walk in there. It's kind of homey. It's beautiful, but it's nothing like, I mean, like you said, there's only one of the Ben. Like it's part of Marriott, but it's the Ben.
But it's its own thing.
Which is really cool.
It
and
is cool.
As far as picking like a wedding venue, yes, it's a hotel. But it's the only one like it. So it's kind of a middle ground of, you get the perks of the hotel, but it's not like just another whatever you want to call it. Like it's something special.
You still get like the, you know, the Marriott perks, like you get Bonvoy points for hosting your events and your room blocks and things like that, but it's also something like unique and individual. And the motto of the hotel is exactly like nothing else, so it kind of holds true.
That is really cool. That is really cool. So location wise, it's right near Clematis Street, right? Okay, I was there like 2 weeks ago. I'm asking you, like, where is it?
Follow
the blue line.
It's definitely a very, you know, cool location. It's, you know, right in the heart of downtown West Palm Beach. So people really love that because it's so central to everything. Like, you know, it's not one of those venues where you have to like worry about transporting your guests throughout the weekend and things like that. Like there's so much to do right at your fingertips. And it's, you know, there's like Visit Palm Beach sunset cruises right across the street. So sometimes people will, you know, do a little sunset cruise the night before for like a welcome party. And then there's, you know, all the bars and restaurants on Clematis. So, you know, after the wedding, those bars are open till like, I think 4 a.m. So after the wedding, people will go there, and which is cool. Nice because like keeps the night going.
Hosting an after party or something. If someone wants to do it, by all means, but it's another thing to pay for. It's another thing to plan, but at least if your venue or the hotel is in a good location, your guests can entertain themselves the day before, the day after, 100%. And you don't have to
worry about all of that and making sure that everyone gets from point A to point B, which is nice. And then we also have Spruzzo, which is our rooftop restaurant, which turns into kind of like nightlife on Friday and Saturday nights, and that's open till 1 a.m. So we also have that built into the hotel, so people will just walk out from the wedding venue and walk right over to Spruzzo and keep the party going. So there's so many options for the whole weekend just based on the location, which is really nice.
Which that's actually the first time I ever went to the Ben was going to like an outing there on the rooftop bar.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a bunch of wedding vendors were just kind of meeting up.
That's so fun.
Didn't know like anyone there, but it was fun and it was pretty. And that was my first, like, I was like, this place is beautiful. Like, I want to do a wedding here.
I love that.
But it's beautiful. Like at night, it was beautiful seeing like all the city lights, and it's right by, is it a marina right there?
Yeah. So there's a marina that it overlooks the marina and the Intracoastal. So that view that you get from Spruzzo
It's a very
restaurant,
nice marina. Yeah, by the way,
it is. Like, it's beautiful. There's a lot of yachts. Like,
so it's not just your average like Joe Schmo marina. It is.
It's not
beautiful
it's
yachts.
Mega yachts. Yeah. And you should have seen it during Palm Beach. The boat show is like our busiest weekend of the year, and there was no square inch of that water that was not filled with a mega yacht. Like it was so crazy. The view from the hotel, nuts. But even just on a regular day, I mean, you saw there's just so many boats there, which is so nice. And then, you know, you overlook the marina, the Intracoastal, and then you can see all of Palm Beach Island, which is so nice. So
which is so cool.
It's amazing. Like during the day, it's beautiful, but also like you said, at night with like the skyline lit up, it's really pretty stunning. You can see like the breakers straight ahead, Flagler Museum to the right, like all the Palm Beach icons, and it's really nice.
It's really pretty. And when you were showing me, like, there's balconies that overlook all that, beautiful spaces for photos, beautiful spaces for your guests to just hang out and take in the view. And what's nice is that I think a lot of people forget that it doesn't have to be a beachfront resort to have that beautiful view. And if anything, like, I mean, beachfront is beautiful, like not to knock that, but I personally don't like sand. And so
same. Yeah.
To have your wedding somewhere where like you can have another amazing view. It's not like just a city view. You get the water. There's history. It's really just such a good location.
It is. And it's really, our event spaces are really nice because you get so much like natural light and amazing views from the inside, which is nice. And our event spaces for the most part are indoors. So like you saw our ceremony space downstairs in the studio is, you know, kind of that elegant, you know, gallery style space with the floor to ceiling windows. They're garage style doors so they can really open, but you know, it's an indoor space where you have so much like light and bright light coming in, but you're protected from the elements, which is so nice. And then you move up to the ballroom, you have the panoramic windows, views of the, you know, the marina and the intracoastal, but you're still inside. And you have the private rooftop terrace if you want to go outside and, you know, take a look.
Which I'm sure in the winter, if you're not watching the video, I'm saying this with air quotes, but like in the winter months, because we're in South Florida, but it gets December, January, February, March, it gets pretty, especially by the water. I'm sure it's like breezy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's nice.
But I love that you guys have the windows, because it's like you get the view, but you don't have to. I mean, I just went out to the parking lot to find you, and in a matter of like 3 minutes, I'm sweating.
Walking in here, I was sweating. Like, it's 97 degrees outside today, people. Like, it's crazy.
So hot, and so it's hard because a lot of people like either don't do a summer wedding at all, or they don't do a place that's outdoors. But with Ben, you can do a summer wedding inside, and there's air conditioning. You're not dying,
and we still offer reduced pricing in the summer, even though it's still indoors. So that's kind of a insider tip. You can do a summer wedding in the I mean, you can do a wedding any time of the Ben, but like if you're looking to do a wedding in the summer, or you want to take advantage of that pricing, it's you get a beautiful view and you're in the AC. It's like the best of both worlds.
It's the best of both worlds.
Because a lot of times people think of like, oh, like I don't want to do a hotel ballroom wedding, because there's kind of like a for lack of a better word, like a stigma about like hotel ballrooms, right? And it's like sometimes they can feel very just like interior and kind of stuffy, and like people walk into our ballroom, they're like, oh, this is not like your standard hotel ballroom.
What floor is the ballroom on?
The 8th floor, which is the top floor of the hotel.
Okay, so it's on the top floor. That's why it doesn't feel
because
I've toured other places and the ballroom has like no windows. It's stuffy.
You feel that, 100%.
There's beautiful windows, which would be stunning on the first floor, but then it's on the 8th floor, so then you have this
view,
amazing view.
So sometimes people will even choose to do their ceremony up there as well, and do ceremony in one half of the ballroom to get the view in the background, and then move out to the pre-function for cocktail hour, and then we flip room and utilize the whole room for dinner. So also, you touched on it, the space downstairs has the garage doors, and so if you're in the months of like maybe September, October, November, or like March, April, May, you have that option. Can the guests or can the bride and groom decide to open the doors or close them? Yeah, absolutely.
So that's nice, because if it's like if the weather's nice, let's open the garage doors and kind of like get the fresh air.
100%.
But if it's way too hot, you can be like, shut the
garage
doors.
Get the AC flowing.
They're glass garage doors.
Exactly. So either way, you still have the light coming in. You're not going to feel very like
I feel like when you gave me that tour, that's all I said 10 times. I'm like, the lighting.
Well, seriously, that's what it is. Yeah, because it's something you don't see in a ton of event spaces in hotels, you know? So it's, the photos at the Ben are always just immaculate.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So where do the brides and grooms typically get ready?
So we include our Kingfisher boardroom as a hospitality suite throughout the day. So I think you saw that it was across from the studio space downstairs, so which is nice for easy access to the ceremony. And then we'll kind of use that as a holding room as well, where you would line up the processional prior to ceremony. But we include that boardroom as a complimentary hospitality suite. So most often one partner will get ready downstairs in the Kingfisher boardroom, and then one partner will typically get ready, upstairs in a room or a suite. We include a complimentary suite for our larger weddings on the night of the wedding for the couple. So we always recommend renting it out the night before, so that, you can wake up, get ready with, your family or your bridesmaids in the room. And we provide all of that all of the necessities for getting ready, like director's chairs, makeup mirrors, full-length mirrors, clothing racks, steamers, anything they need, or their hair and makeup artist needs, then we provide that too. So we'll have that delivered to the room prior to their check-in and make everything smooth and seamless.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So your title's Catering Sales Manager, right?
Yes.
So are you there on wedding day, or does someone else take over like the actual planning part of it?
So I basically sell the wedding. I'm contracting, I'm doing the site, taking the inquiry, doing the site tour, doing your contract. And then my colleague Colby, who is fantastic, she is the event manager, who then takes over and does your menu tasting, your banquet event orders, your floor plan, and all of the detailing, and then she's there on the day of.
Gotcha. So you get the couple started and show everybody.
Exactly.
Get them contracted in, and then you hand them off.
But I used to sell in service, so I would do the whole thing from start to finish. So I've kind of seen both sides of it, but we're kind of pivoted to where I'm doing the selling and then Colby's doing the servicing, and so we're still heavily involved in each process.
Yeah, but it's nice to have a team of people, so you're not like
100%
chaotic.
But I'm glad I have the background in servicing and being that point of contact all the way through, because it's definitely makes it easier to sell it and set a proper expectation.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. So at the Ben, you guys have in-house catering?
We do. Yeah. So we have an amazing culinary team. So we have just an awesome team of chefs, and they really do a great job. Like, the food, I can honestly say, is so fantastic at the Ben. I love it. Like, tasting days are our favorite. Like, it is. Tasting days, I think, are the best part of like the whole wedding planning process. I think they're like so fun.
Will you come to our cake tasting?
You're like, yes, sign me up. Yeah, it's amazing. And so our culinary team is fantastic. They do all of the catering in-house. They're super like creative and flexible. So if there's something that's like not necessarily in our wedding menus that a couple wants, and we can typically make it happen. But yeah, just the presentation and the food quality itself is just top notch. I love our food so much.
That's amazing. So when you book the Ben, you're automatically like getting the in-house catering.
Yep, exactly.
Which is nice. I know some people like to hire outside catering, which can be nice, but when the venue offers it, it's just so much easier.
Exactly. And on certain occasions, it's the right piece of business, we will permit like kosher, like for a kosher or South Asian event or something, like an Indian wedding, like we can permit that in certain instances with a kitchen buyout, because we do only have the one banquet kitchen. So for the right pieces of business, we can accommodate outside catering if it's something that we can't provide, like kosher catering. But for the most part, all of our weddings will be in-house catering.
Gotcha. Yep. How about wedding cake?
So that's the one food and beverage item that we don't provide in-house. So we permit our couples to source that from any vendor of their choosing. We refer them to Johnson's Custom Cakes, but they can bring it in from anybody. So sometimes people will choose to just bring in like Publix or Costco cakes. Yeah. But it's really just up to their preference.
And if they bring it like the morning of, do you guys like store it in the fridge for them?
We don't. So typically we'll align with whatever vendor is bringing it and ask them to bring it as close to the start time as possible, just because we don't necessarily have a space to store it. So typically that's no problem, especially because Johnson's like works with us all the time. So most people will use them, and they know to bring it like close in.
Yeah. I mean, it can get complicated, like trying to find a space and then putting it in the fridge and then taking
just
it out.
Making sure that like it's, so it's just better to get it to the spot it needs to go and leave it there, and just not give too much time.
No, makes total sense. Yeah. But it is nice that like, they do have the option, because wedding cake, some people do want specifically from a certain place, so it's nice that they have the option.
Totally. And some people have like their certain vendors that they followed on Instagram for like a year, and they're like, I want to bring in a cake from them. So it's nice, I think, that we offer that flexibility.
No, for sure. So I know we kind of touched on how great the lighting is for photos, but like, tell me about like the photo spots. Like, are there any certain places that couples love to go to or...
Totally. So there's so many good spots, but I think the best one is the private rooftop terrace, which we were standing out on, and it's just incredible for photos. If you're doing a first look, it is so nice to do it there, because you have, access to that space prior to the wedding. So, you can have, bride standing outside and then groom coming around for entering from the pre-function space, and it's a very like long and narrow space. So it just makes for like such a nice first look backdrop. Or even, bridesmaids photos or any photos up there are nice. And then a lot of times people will take photos downstairs in the lobby area. You kind of saw like the aesthetic of the hotel, but it makes for really nice kind of like dark and moody kind of photos.
I was about to say moody.
Yeah,
if you like a dark and moody. But what's cool about the Ben is that upstairs is not
it's
dark
light and bright.
It's light and bright.
Exactly.
So you really get the best
you
of both
get variety,
worlds.
which is really cool.
And I know that I'm like raving about it, but like I actually like I toured it a couple weeks with you and I was like, I loved this. Like, like on the way home, I was talking, I don't know, every time I drive, I'm on the phone with my sister or my best friend or my mom or someone. And I was like, I want to do a wedding there. Like someone book me for a wedding there.
We got to get you in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But really like the downstairs is like dark and moody in the best way.
Yes, exactly.
But then upstairs is light and bright and like feels like coastal, kind of beachy and like you get different vibes. It incorporates
all the different elements of Florida, which is cool. And it, so in the lobby, there's the living room area and then also the library. So the living room's really nice. There's like a fireplace and people can take pictures there, but the library wall has like it's basically like a big bookshelf in the back and there's a long couch in front of it, and so people will take photos there and either like stagger and do family photos, or there's even like photos of brides kind of like lounged out on it with their dress like flowing, and it looks just amazing. I love that. And then of course people will go outside to the lawn space across, or even walk down to the marina and get some of the water in the back, which is nice. And then people will usually take photos at like the entrance doors where it says like the Ben Trovato, and like with the doors opening, it looks really nice there too. So there's so many great spots, and usually like if the photographer requests like a walkthrough, then we can do like a walkthrough with them and kind of show them where we suggest, but it's really up to their creativity. Yeah.
That is always nice if the photographer will go before and
I love
scout
doing
it out.
That. Usually I'll meet with the photographer and just, to say, it's really up to your vision, but here's some popular spots. And
that's awesome. So if you had to pick, do you have like a favorite part about the Ben, or like one, or is everything your favorite part?
I love so many things about the Ben. I think, like we talked about, I think there's really nothing. There are so many beautiful wedding venues in South Florida, and I like I told you, I'm also getting married next year. So I recently, thank you. So I recently, obviously I knew of a lot of the venues, but I recently toured a bunch myself, and so I really know firsthand like how many amazing options there are down here, which is awesome. But I really feel like we offer something so different. I think it's something so unique to the area, and I love that. I think it's just such a beautiful space, and I'm very passionate about selling it, which it makes it, makes it fun. And I also like that we are a boutique hotel, so we offer like a very individualized experience for the bride, like for the bride and for the couple. And we're not, we're not like one of those larger like, wedding factory venues that are like pumping out weddings. We don't have like 15 event spaces. We really only have, the true event spaces that we discussed. And so it makes for a very personal experience, which is really nice. And then I also really like that I feel like everyone has like some connection to the Ben, like we're a very like prominent part of the community, I think. And so just like you said, like you're like, oh, like I went there for, a gathering at the rooftop.
Everyone knows it.
Everyone knows it. And so every time I tell someone I work there, they're like, oh, I went to, my friend's birthday party at the pool, or, oh, I was just at Spruzzo last week, and it's really nice. I feel like it's just, we only opened, like 4 years ago. And I feel
really?
like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's pretty amazing. I feel like, it's grown so much in the past few years and has become such an established part of the community, which I love that about the hotel.
Did you guys open right during COVID?
Yeah.
Oi.
I know. Yeah. Crazy. So definitely, I was there for it, but it's definitely an interesting time, in the hospitality industry in general. And, I think it just speaks volumes to the hotel that they've, had so much success in the last few years. So yeah, it's just an amazing place to work. Like I feel very like grateful to work there. It's just such a beautiful space, but also just an amazing team and just a great culture. And it's just awesome. It's an awesome place.
It makes such a difference when you actually like where you work.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Most of your life is at your job.
Yeah, so exactly. No,
it makes such a difference when you like where you work, and then also because you are in the sales side of things. Like it seems to me that you're like genuine about what you're trying to sell, which probably makes it way easier, because you're not like, how can I sell this? Like, no, it speaks for itself.
100%. And also, that is like, I always try to be very transparent and honest with my couples that I'm touring, because I do come from a servicing background. I'm usually the one who is detailing the wedding all the way through. So if you're not being transparent up front, like you're not setting yourself up for success later down the line. You know what I mean? And like also as a upcoming bride myself, like I can certainly like understand wanting to know everything up front, and so and not being hit with any surprises later down the line. So I really lay it all out up front in the initial kind of inquiry phase, and I think that that's the best way to do it, so there's no, you know, there's no like gimmicks, there's no surprises. It's just better to be honest and transparent. And I think that goes a long way with clients too. Yeah.
It definitely does. It does. Especially when it's their wedding day.
Totally. Like, you don't mess around with that.
No.
Like that is, you are not selling, we're not here to like sell a dream that can't be, you know, made into a reality. And for the most part, we can make the dreams into the reality. But if there was anything that we couldn't, I would certainly be honest about that, you know?
For sure. So I ask everyone that's on the podcast, do you have any wedding day horror stories? I know you probably can't say anything too specific, but is there anything general or like
honestly, like I don't really have like that many specific like horror stories, which I guess is lucky.
It's a great thing.
You know, besides like the, you know, the weather call nightmares here and there, and you know, people maybe bride or groom kind of fainting or passing out because they don't eat during their wedding day. Eat during your wedding day, people. Make time to eat. But just those little things here and there, but like nothing too noteworthy, honestly, which I consider
that's good.
I consider a win.
That's good. That is definitely a win. We don't want horror stories. They're just entertaining.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just entertaining.
I like hearing other people's.
Yeah, exactly. We like hearing other people's. So I also ask everyone, what's one piece of advice that you would want to give? It could be life, wedding, the Ben, anything.
Yeah, that's a good question. I like that. I would say, I mean, I think a big thing to keep in mind is just to like remember why you're doing this, you know, because I think it's so easy to get caught up in like the nitty gritty of everything. Like to get so stressed over like the font on your menu or purple or red chargers, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, because all these decisions do become so overwhelming, and I can, like I said, I can certainly understand it now from this perspective too, as I'm sure you can too, because I know you said you recently got married, right? So, you know, you gain a new understanding for it as well. But I think it's like just so important to kind of like just take a step back and remember like what the end goal of this is, you know, because it's like, there's a lot of decisions and there's a lot of stress that go into planning, you know, your own wedding. And it's important to just remember, like at the end of the day, you're doing this because two people love each other and you're going to get married, and that's all that really matters, you know? And so I think just like regaining like perspective on everything is really important. And also just, you know, trying to go with the flow as much as possible. I think, you know, weddings are always kind of, there's always something that's not going to go exactly perfect, and hopefully it's a very small thing, but weddings are, you know, kind of, there's always a possibility of something. And I think that, you know, just like I said, just keeping in mind what's important and the end goal, and just at the end of the day, like, you're going to have a beautiful wedding. You're going to get married. You're going to marry the love of your life. And that's what matters, right?
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Don't lose sight of what actually matters. We're here. The wedding isn't a showcase. It's your wedding day. It's a celebration of your love. So don't forget that.
100%.
And yeah, I mean, if you just plan things accordingly, like it doesn't mean it'll be perfect, but at least it'll be like, it'll avoid a lot of hiccups.
Exactly. And the more detail you give your vendors, the more seamless it's going to go. You know?
I always try to tell people, like, plan in advance so that you can focus on the day.
Absolutely.
Like,
and have a wedding planner.
Yes.
Have a wedding planner.
Actually, I'm going to ask your opinion on the difference between a venue coordinator and a wedding planner.
Yes.
Because I feel like I always try to give my side of it, but I want to hear your side of it.
I always get asked this too by like prospective couples. It's so obviously, as you know, your catering manager, venue manager, whatever you want to call it. So we're working with you all the way through to, you know, make your menu, do your floor plan, you know, things like that. But we're, you know, as you get closer, we start working with your planner to kind of, your planner will be the one who gives us your timeline and, you know, handles like the vendor communication and kind of loops everybody in and things like that towards the end of the planning process. And then on the day of, you know, we're overseeing, like, we're in the kitchen making sure the food's going on time. Like, we're in the ballroom prior making sure that the setup is according to the floor plan. We're, you know, making sure that everything's going smoothly and on time. But, you know, your planner is going to be the one who is, you know, making sure your vendors are all where they need to be. They're going to be there, you know, while hair and makeup's going on and things like that. And so we're handling more of the logistics of the venue, whereas the planner is handling more of the logistics of like your vendors and your timeline and making sure all of that's going according to plan. So there is a difference, you know, like obviously on the venue side, we're more than happy to help with anything, but there's certain things that, you know, we can't do when we're, like I said, in the kitchen, making sure that everything looks good with the food and things like that, you know? Yeah. So I think that having, you know, a planner or, you know, at least a day of, month of coordinator is just really beneficial to everybody to have for their own, you know, just setting themselves up for success.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree because I'm a planner, but a lot of people are like, but there's a venue coordinator. I'm like, but it's not the same. And it's not. We're a team. Yeah. Like the venue and the planners are a team. It's not that like the planner is better than the venue coordinator, not at all. But like,
it's a partnership.
I've been at weddings where the venue coordinator like wasn't really doing their job, and where it's like now I'm doing like already what I'm supposed to do, and then I was like in the kitchen trying to make sure the food's on time and stuff. So it's
that should not be happening.
No, it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And that was a very specific venue.
Yeah.
But they have their own job.
Yeah.
Like there is so much behind the scenes goes on that
absolutely
couples have no idea about.
Exactly.
So
100%.
A lot behind the scenes just with setting up the venue, setting up the catering, getting all of that, and the servers ready, like everything behind the scenes. The venue coordinator has a lot to coordinate at the venue.
Yeah.
They're not responsible for your DJ and your florist and all of that other stuff, and making sure that you walk down the aisle on time. That's not their problem.
Yeah, and obviously we would love to, like, you know, we would love to be able to do all of that. We would love to be their planner, but we're, you know, one person can't necessarily do all of that. And that's why it's just so beneficial to have a planner that, you know, you have a great partnership with, you know?
It's just there's always a team. Like everyone needs a team. And work well together. Like that's just, there's a difference. So anyway, I feel like I always give my opinion on it, but obviously I'm biased. So I wanted to let you share your opinion.
100%. I'm in full agreement with you.
Well, anyway, thank you so much for being here. This was so fun. Is there anything else that you'd want to share about the Ben? Or I know we covered a lot.
I feel like I covered a lot. I talk a lot. No, I mean, I just, I appreciate you letting me tell a little bit about the Ben. And if anyone wants to contact me, they can, you know, give me a call at the Ben. Find you? So you can follow us on Instagram at the Ben Events, and you can see some good like wedding inspo there. We post all different kinds of events there. And then to reach me, you can call me at 561-461-0024, or they can email me. It's my first name, Courtney, Courtney, .Simoncelli, which is a tough one, but it's SIMON, like Simon, and then CELLI at thebenwestpalm.com. So if anyone's interested in hosting a wedding, I'm your gal. I'm happy to take anyone on a tour, and hopefully we get to do a wedding soon. If anyone's interested in doing a wedding, they're going to call you, book the Ben, and then I will come plan it. I'm going to send them your information, and it's going to be great. Yeah. Yes. No, but hopefully we get to do one soon together. That'd be really nice. Yeah, it would be fun. Yeah. That would be fun. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So fun. Yeah. And I hope everyone has a great day. Yeah, I never know how to end everyone. I never know how to end it, but you did good. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. I love that. That was so fun.